And I have the amazing and delightful Rob with us. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing good. I'm great. How are you?
Great. How's LA treating you?
Oh, LA is always treating me good. Shout out to all the people in Florida because our weather is so great out here. I just almost felt bad saying that our weather is amazing, but I know they're like getting hammered over there on the East Coast. You too, but it's not hitting you yet, huh?
No. Thoughts and prayers to everybody down in Florida. Yeah, man,
Yeah,
it's crazy watching these videos and kind of seeing what's going on.
insane.
It's been a crazy day, crazy week. Before we start, I just want to give our thoughts and prayers to Val, who started blackfilm.com. Thoughts and prayers for her family today. So keep your head up. And
Absolutely.
let's start the show.
Let's do it.
Okay. We got some fun things to do today, but before we get into it, we want to get into hot topics. So hot topics this week. Woo, it's been a little crazy. First, rest in peace to Coolio. He passed today at the age of 59 years old. There's two people that stand out in my childhood, and for some reason, this is weird how I put them together, but Coolio and Weird Al Yankovic, I always see them synonymously with each other because he did his spoof on that, and that video was just like next level to me. So I was like, oh my God. And Coolio, he was killing it back in the day. He was like that thug. How long you been on the West Coast? Were you a kid growing up on the West Coast when Coolio was?
No. I grew up in Chicago, but of course Coolio was still a big part of my upbringing and my childhood. So absolutely, like losing all of these icons and legends and from my childhood is heartbreaking. But they're making the Weird Al Yankovic movie that's coming out. So I wonder.
Yeah, I saw that. You got to put him in there, right? You got to put Coolio in there. A little bit, a little tribute to him. That would be a nice touch. So just shout out to him and his family. It's a great loss for hip hop, and just music, man. It was just a movement that everybody came around. Doesn't matter what color you were. Everybody knows a Coolio song.
Exactly.
All right, next up. Woo, Rachel Dolezal. If anybody remembers her, this lady pretended to be a black woman, even got her hair to be all curly and stuff. And that didn't go so well. So now the new news that's going on with Rachel is that she decided to do an OnlyFans page and post about it. And a lot of people didn't like that so much. I have my own thoughts. Coco's not with us tonight because I wanted to get a black woman's perspective on that. But listen, at this point in her life, she can't get a job anywhere. So hear me out, Rob. You not getting to work. OnlyFans, they're making some money, and on top of that, she was promoting another black brand. So her words were, "I was supporting Rihanna's new line, and I want to show that all types of women can wear it. So that's what I'm wearing and showing myself off at the same time."
She didn't say that. Well, it's one of them things where I'm like, I really don't care about this woman at all. Like, she just she's not a person who crosses my mind ever. Like, there's nothing about this person who like intrigues me to have a conversation. But but this is the other thing. In her defense, who cares? Like, go out there and pop it open and make some money. Like, all these people making, if the people want to spend the cash to see what's going on, take the money, take their money. Open that OnlyFans, take their money. I did see the Rihanna thing, which I thought was like, don't try and add that in there to get some clicks. You'll get enough people just wanting to see, what. But I like
one of the comments was, you know what? If you look up, you got to look up under Ebony to find her. I was like, yo, that's. It was a joke though, but I was like.
But I'm like, anybody who's watching, they're like, I want to see if it's, what it's looking like.
I don't want to. But you know what? For the show tonight, I subscribe. I'm joking. I didn't do it.
I was like, bro, how much was it, bro? Was it $2.99? Was it
$10? Yes, $10. Good cause. Give people out. No, but I didn't do it. I almost thought about it because for research, just for research value. But I digress. Let's move on. Next topic: Rick Ross. Woo. Getting a little hate. There's a new Jeffrey Dahmer movie on Netflix that is huge right now. I think it's some of the. Maybe we might do that, or maybe get one of the actors from the show. I would love to do that for Rewind with Ro or Black Film. But the acting in this show is amazing, right? Doesn't matter what color you are, black, white. everybody it's like real, like everything they're showing clips side by side, or like what really happened in the courtroom, the scenes they have, like everybody is like on point to a T. So with that being said, Rick Ross was, chilling like everybody else was, watching Netflix, having a good time. And he's like, yo, he decided to tweet, Jeffrey Dahmer's shades are fire, bro. I like that. And Black Twitter didn't really take to that too much. They weren't too happy about that. So they made him hear it. What do you think about that? Or is this just more crap that we got to talk about?
It's just more crap. Like him, Boosie, all these people wanting to like comment on this show, just so it's this clickbait. They just want to get clicks. They just want people to click in and talk about them and have a headline. Like if he wanted to, and to me, like the man liked his glasses. So what? I mean, he wasn't saying he liked his eating habits. Which is, his Jeffrey Dahmer is a horrible
Rob, great point. Didn't say he liked his
right. He wasn't like condoning the horrible nature of what Jeffrey Dahmer did to these men. He was saying, I like his glasses. Like, okay, you can like his glasses and he's a killer. You can like someone's shoes and they killed someone. It doesn't mean he wants to emulate that person's life. Or
can you like somebody's stuff that's a
so what? Like I think part of the conversation is tone deaf to the nature of what's happening right now, because I think the trauma porn portion of this, where people are like have sympathy for those families having to relive this experience over and over again. I think maybe it was tone deaf to that experience, but he liked his glasses. I could really care less. But I mean, if he said something that was out of line about like the nature of what Jeffrey Dahmer did in like a way that was passe, then we can have a conversation. He didn't say anything disgusting like that. So to me, it was like, oh, I like his glasses. So what? I don't think that's a thing that he needs to be canceled over. But again, I hate the concept of cancel culture anyway, but I think that maybe it was a little tone deaf, but whatever.
Everybody's so sensitive. Anyway, last thing coming up, there's some new movies coming out. Till is coming out. Was it next month?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because we're only a day away from next month. So yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, right. October. I mean, wow, right? Winter's coming quick.
Yes.
I'm already putting jackets on now. I kind of like it and I don't like it, but it's just one of those things. But anyway, to be said, about the story of Emmett Till, we're gonna really find out, I guess, the Hollywood version of what happened in that store that day. I do know, what was it, 5 years ago or something like that? The woman that actually accused Emmett Till of touching her said it never happened. And so, I remember that day. I mean, you felt that. But his mom decided to have his casket open casket. He was killed, brutally murdered, and she wanted the world to see. And that had a huge part of the civil rights movement during that time. So far, if you saw The Woman King, it's in that preview, and it oh my God, I don't know if I'm ready for another one. I need a break. When black films get too deep, I'm like, I need just a little break. But what did you think about that? Are you excited to see that?
I'm super excited to see that, especially with it being a project that's like produced and starring Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, I'm super excited that she was a part of bringing this story to the forefront of conversation, because again, a lot of people, I think, in these younger generations don't know about things like Emmett Till. They don't know about things like they don't know about a lot of the historical situations that occurred that really fueled a lot of civil rights movement, and they don't really have a in-depth knowledge of that. So, and I think we need to keep those stories alive, especially with like a lot of these cities and states trying to ban education that they feel like is going to be harmful to the mind of young white kids if they have to understand the history of what their ancestors did. Like, to me, telling this story is important, keeping the story alive is important, and championing the people who around him kept his name, in the mouths of Americans is important to me. And his mother was a big part of that. And, her statement that she makes with, wanting to have an open casket and like really just putting the brutality of what happened to her son at the forefront of people's conversation, I think is important. And those stories can never be forgotten. So I think I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to see it. I don't think it's going to be a trauma porn situation. I think this is going to be a reciting of history that needs to be remembered.
And that's a valid point that you said. I was going to add on to that. I was like, I don't even think the kids nowadays even know about the civil rights movement, right? It's just like, we're going to wash that away. That never happened.
Right.
So we need these movies. I love just a representation on screen. There was a little flack because his mom, I guess, is British. and I guess British black folks don't understand American history. I guess that's what we feel. But I was watching The Shop recently, and they had a couple of Alba. He was on there, and he was talking about, it's crazy how we hate on each other. A British black guy can't play another black man in a scene. It's like, I'm an actor. That's what my job is. And so I saw a little bit, again, Black Twitter acting a fool again, putting hate out there to the young woman playing Emmett Till's mom because she was British, as if we couldn't feel that. So again, if you weren't born in that time, it doesn't matter, right? It's just, you're an actor, you're set up there to do that. So again, I'm excited to see this coming out next month. So a lot of good black Wakanda Forever coming out next month. We got a lot of good energy, good black films coming out. So
yeah, absolutely. And like to that point, like I'm tired of having those conversations too, right? Because as an actor, she can absolutely tap into the concept of loss or tap into the concept of wanting to fight for something that's important for her. Like she doesn't have to be a person who actually lived that experience, because I mean, depending on like what direction you choose to go from a training perspective as an actor, some people like to tap into some to true experiences. My acting direction is not that way. I like to live through imaginary circumstances, so I can absolutely create a fantasy of having to go through the loss of a child or the loss of someone that's important to me. So she's an actor.
There you go. That's what Rob does. He's a great actor. Great actor. Great stuff. That's great stuff. All right, so let's go into it next. All right, so we're gonna do two films tonight. One is on Paramount. If you haven't downloaded Paramount, there's actually some good stuff on there, surprisingly. They're doing a free trial, a week trial. I couldn't get a month. Rob said there was a month. I didn't see a month trial. So a 3 week trial. Try to find it. They're not doing that. 3 week trial. Or you can bundle it, my friends. You can bundle it with Showtime. So you're having Showtime and you have Paramount. So anyway, our new film is On the Come Up.
Paramount didn't pay for this, by the way, but they could if they wanted.
No, we're plugging them. We're plugging them. If they did. Shout out to Paramount. Thank you so much. So this movie is about a 16-year-old Bree who wants to be the greatest rapper of all time. Her dad was a great rapper, but got caught up in the game, living that fake life, because he wasn't really about that life. But in order to sell, he had to rap about that life, and which cost him his life. And so we're following her story. Her mom is a crackhead, going through her recovery, kind of abandoned her as a young kid, and how that kind of molded her into the person she is today, and just the hustles that she has to go through. So first off, also I want to mention, this is Sanaa Lathan's first directorial debut. It was really good, really well done. Most actors who become directors, sometimes their first film's a little rough, but she's been in the game for so long. She was in Blade. A lot of people don't remember that. Sanaa Lathan was in Blade. Blade's a long time ago. She still looks the same. God, when they say black don't crack, holy cow. Sanaa Lathan, I'm gonna pour some out for you, because maybe you did do the Blade Venom back then. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, Rob, what did you think of her directorial debut, and what did you think of the film?
Well, anything that these icons from my era of black love film, like Love and Basketball.
Oh,
I'm gonna follow whatever they do. I'm gonna support them to the end. Okay. So Sanaa, she can put out whatever she wants, and I'm going to watch it. And I have to say, I was so pleasantly surprised with how wonderful this film was. And when I first started watching, I was like, okay, let me see how I'm gonna feel. Let me fill it out. But I was pleasantly surprised. The performances were phenomenal. I mean, the lead actress, what was her name? Jamila Gray. Yeah. She was so good. She killed it. And I'm like, is she a rapper, or is she what's going on? Because she was so good. She really, really knocked it out the park. And as well as the rest of the cast. But kudos to Sanaa Lathan for this film. And I want to also credit the other people who are involved in the project. I know it's based on a book by Angie Thomas. And then the screenplay was adapted by Kay Oyegun, who is like executive producer and writer from This Is Us. So I'm sure we're going to hear this woman's name a lot more after this project, because it's just so good.
And this is one of the reasons why we have Rob on, for all the technical stuff. He does, he does a lot of good things. You get knowledge up there, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you. I try.
All right. Hey, again, I have my rule. There's 2 rappers in this film. Method Man, shout out to Staten Island, Wu-Tang all day. From Staten Island, people, if you don't know. And then Lil Yachty. Oh, I hate Lil Yachty. But anyway, in the film, he was tolerable. Bree, the young actress, is a rapper coming up. They do old school battles. Epps is in there. Mike Epps is in there. Shout out to him. Mike Epps was okay. Representation there. Being the ring kind of master. Also had a talk show host, radio. And so he would kind of get everybody check in, because if you made it out of the Gardens, what they called the place, it was like a big ring. Excuse me. And they would perform and have battles. So it was really cool to go to that old school streets of like you would hear back in the day of Eminem, right? That battle. And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, wow, it's different now with TikTok. Remember that first scene, she like kind of bails out, and you just heard about that back then, on the circuit, underground circuit, when people doing rap and hip hop. Yo, he came up this way, but I remember that one time he didn't show up, or he killed him, and it was just a rumor, right? But now I can't imagine it nowadays with people having TikTok and Instagram. It's like, when you get defeated, oh man, that must hurt in so many ways. What did you think about that?
No, I loved how they integrated music as the backdrop of this film, and like METHOD, man, shout out to Method, like always. And again, these are people from the era we grew up in. So I just had so much pride watching it, looking at the poster she had up on the wall. Yeah. The whole conversation about females and hip hop, and they led it with talking about how you better give Lil Kim.
They give a lot of respect to Lil Kim. Shout out. They got they poured some out for hard on that.
That's why I was like, you know what? I love it. And I love the battle scenes. It all took me back to my high school days, when actually me and Koku went to high school together. And, we had a little rap group, but Koku was the stellar rapper, but we had a little rap group in college. I mean, in high school.
So note to self, we will someone's rapping next week. All right.
Definitely. Me and Koku had a little rap group. It was me and Koku and our friend.
What's the name of the group?
I can't put that out there yet, because I'm going to trademark the name of our group first, because
okay, so you're saying it's still alive. They might do a show sometime soon.
Well, maybe it might pop up somewhere. But yeah, people used to have the little ciphers, and they would stand around outside after the football games and rap. And yeah, so like that whole energy and culture was very reminiscent of my childhood. So I just really connected to this film. I really loved the film. I thought it was very well done. Kudos again to Sanaa Lathan, to the whole cast, because the performances were stellar. And I was like literally standing up, screaming, cheering in that end scene. I'm like, ah! Like I was just so invested in the story. I loved it. I really loved it.
Again, surprisingly, it was a fun ride, and I was like, wow. And I would love to see behind the scenes of how much she had to put into that, and just getting the repetition of like the beat and then rapping over the flow. But it was almost like poetry slamming too, at the same time. So it was beautifully. And then she would count the syllables and words, and then her mind would flow. So I was like, oh man, it was like 3 movies in one. It was very well done. Last thing I'll say about this, what do you score it? Again, Rob, stick to the rules. We went 1 out of 4. You get 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1. Rob, ladies and gentlemen, tune in. He likes to do like just crazy numbers, 100 stars, 10 stars. So stay within the parameters of 4, please, Rob. On a scale of 1 to 4, what would you give this movie?
I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm gonna give it 4 stars, because again, I thought it really took me back to my younger days with the hip hop, and it was perfect. Sanaa Lathan again did a phenomenal job. So I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I absolutely loved it. I can't say anything negative about it right now. I loved it.
That down, Rob. 4 stars.
4.
I'm gonna do a tally at the end of the season to see what Rob, yeah,
my count's gonna be off. What's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 4 as well. 3.8.
Okay.
I'm just gonna give perfect 4s just yet. It's early. 3.8. I'll give it 3.8. The reason why I'm not giving it 4 because I had to go through Paramount. Just saying. I understand.
No docs are not for the platform.
You're trying to put it out there. I get it. But come on, it was very inconvenient. I had to go through a lot of things. People hit me up. If you want to get a link, and I'll hook you up. You can watch it.
Oh, and the other thing that we pointed out last week that we got to point out again is all of these Black female directors. I'm telling you,
coming out. coming out. We got to get somebody on here sooner or later. We got to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So moving right along here. Woo, woo, woo. If you haven't been paying attention, Rob does a lot of the back scenes for blackfilm.com. And that's why I have to be very patient and not getting on his bad side. He's a very integral part of what we do here. So I had the pleasure of interviewing the cast of a Jasmines Blues a couple weeks in Chicago. And I also had the pleasure of interviewing Tyler Perry. And thank you again, Tyler Perry, for your patience on the interview. You can watch that was a tough one. That was a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. You can watch the editing that Rob put together of me doing a so-so interview. I tried. It was tough. Things were happening. But anyway, I got to interview Soleil Pfeiffer and Joshua Boone. Soleil Pfeiffer plays Deanne in the movie, the love interest, and Joshua Boone plays Bayou. And then Amira Vaughn, who's the mother of Joshua Boone, Bayou. This movie takes place in the South. It has a period range of like 50 years. Or 40 years of just a tragic story that happens, and there's a death and a murder, and they're trying to find out what happened exactly. So they go back in time. We see the story. Kind of remind me of The Notebook, the black version, right? And then there's some crazy other stories in there. But in terms of, they tell you the story in modern day, and then they go back in time to kind of say, hey, this is what really happened. And so there's so much music involved in this. It's beautiful. I always get a little weird when I see those big trees that are like plantation trees. I always get really nervous because I was like, I never feel a good energy about that. I always think of someone being hung, unfortunately. But what Tyler Perry was able to do was transport us in time and just to feel the young love, joy, happiness with family, the trials and tribulations that people of lighter shades of color had to go through back then, and what they could possibly get away with or not. And what they chose to do, those decisions, how much they implicated what type of life you were going to live. And so I had to think about that. Rob, we're about a complexion off. We're about a complexion. And so I thought about that. I was like, well, if I was a lighter complexion, if I could get away with it back then, would I do it? I probably would. I'll be honest with you. I probably would. I'm just going to, because it was hot the other day, and I was like, you know what? I couldn't survive one day of slavery. I'll be honest with you.
Oh God. Well, there's been there's been plenty of conversation. No, I love it. I love it. There's been conversation around this lately because, of course, the film Passing came out, so that was a integral part of that film. And then, honestly, I wasn't aware that was even a part of the conversation of this film. And when that storyline pops up, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'm excited to see where this goes. And I have to say that this is a beautiful departure from what we're traditionally used to with Tyler Perry, which is that like real funny, feel good, family with a beautiful message at the end. Like, it's a departure from that style of production from Tyler Perry. And I'm excited to see where he goes from here, because I really liked the film. And Amira Van cannot do wrong. She's always great. She's stunningly beautiful, and she's always so gracious and so poised, and she's such a phenomenal actress. Like, Amira Van, I love you.
I interviewed, listen, I don't have to cut you off, Rob. I interviewed her. It was like 8:30 in the morning. She had this, you guys, it's already up on blackfilm.com. Watch the interview. I'll post a little skit. I had her answer a question. If she can go back in time and rewind anything, what would she rewind? And she said her moment with her daughter. And that brought tears to my eyes. I was like, oh my God, that was so beautiful, because she just had a kid. And I was like, you just had a kid where? And right. She had this beautiful dress. Her hair was all big. But it wasn't like, move out of the way. It was more like, hi, I'm here. And it was just a beautiful moment. So
yeah, absolutely. And then the woman who plays what's her name, sister, Melina Jackson. I love her. I love her, and I love her from Animal Kingdom, from How to Get Away with Murder, which I love her. She's so good. And her performance was stellar. Like, everybody in it was great. Even the guy who plays the brother, who was of lighter complexion, Austin Scott.
Yeah. Austin Scott taking your roles.
Yeah, was his
taking your roles?
Huh?
Is Austin Scott taking your roles?
No, I'm not there yet.
Okay.
Hopefully very soon I'll be
All right.
to that level, but not yet, not just yet. But no, he was great with like carrying that role with drug addiction, and it was just it was just very well done. Like and I loved that Tyler Perry kind of told the story through the love letters that had been written, and so we follow the love letters from beginning to end of the film. I thought it was beautifully done. Like, again, thank you, Tyler Perry. It was a great film.
Well, what I wanted to mention was it's very rare, like the playwright where Denzel Washington is doing all his movies now, and he did Fences, and there's like 3 more that are coming out, and it's weird when you see a play become a movie, and you can tell it's kind of weird and awkward. But what Tyler Perry was able to do was make a movie, and I could see a play in that movie. So it was brilliantly well done. How there weren't any like awkward poses, and that's what typically happens when you try to make a play into a movie. There's like a scene, like okay, and then like, oh, that's when we would cut, change the stage, and go around. You can feel that in the movie. At least that's what I've seen, so far. And I never felt that moment in this film at all. The music was amazing. I spoke to Amir Avan and then Joshua Boone and Soleil, and Joshua sang that was his own voice. Amira sang that was her own voice, and I was like, wow. She's like, you don't understand. On set, Tyler made this experience so amazing. And then when I asked Tyler, like, hey, if you could rewind a moment in your life, what would it be? And he was like, this movie. I had such a good time with this cast, and this was his baby. He thought about it in 1996, 95, and he made it come true. And isn't that crazy? I thought about that. I was like, was it better for it to come out now, or would it be as well received if it came out in 96? And I was looking at what movies came out around 96. Was like Set It Off, Jason's Lyrics. Like it would have been something, but I don't know if you could have got away with the shots and the scenes. So it's very interesting. So I highly recommend to check out this film. It's dropped on Netflix last week, Friday. Any last thoughts or comments on that, Rob?
No, I just again, I just think Tyler Perry did a phenomenal job. Again, Amir Van and the rest of the cast were just stellar. The singing was great. I thought the juke joints took me back a little bit to The Color Purple. So I was like, okay. I was like, I'm liking where this is going, and I really enjoyed the project. So I'm excited to see his forte away from Medea, like what else he'll do, and if he'll start to go in a more like dramatic direction like this, because it was great. It was great. No complaints.
And you know what really helped me is seeing Kevin Hart's Heart to Heart. Not to plug another show, but he does an interview with Tyler Perry, and they deep dive. And so I never saw Tyler Perry besides as Medea. And I apologize, I've never seen a Medea film in my life.
Well, I think some people are gonna try and revoke your black card.
Yeah, I know. Ellen tried to do that before on the other show. And I said, but I just didn't have time. But anyway.
I mean, there's so many of them, and
I know. I always get in time, bro. Anyway, but my point of me saying that is he humanizes him, because I remember there was such a stereotype with Tyler Perry, like trying to diminish the black man, right? Always wanting to put in a black man in a dress. Like Martin Lawrence was in a dress that you coming up, like, oh, once in Hollywood, you get in Hollywood, they're always going to try to demean you as a black man and put you in a dress. And then hearing Tyler speak is like, listen, this was my grandmother. This was my mother. I was representing black women on the screen that weren't being represented before. And so I was talking about that, what the things I learned from them that molded me as a young man. And I was like, oh, I didn't think about that, right? And we all have a mom, right? Or we have a woman figure in our life that helped us at some point, or didn't help us, but there was something there, right? And so I love that he captured that. And he was like, I was just trying to provide jobs. And there was such a negative connotation with what he was doing instead of this positive. He was like, you know what? I looked, I was like, hey, I'm trying to help. If people don't want to be a part of that, then it is what it is. And I can't just go with the mainstream. I got to go outside the box. And that's when he started his own place now in Atlanta. And so, I mean, it's such a powerful, his story is so powerful. And to see where he keeps on going. I mean, billionaire, Like, what do? You just like, I give up now? No, you just, make more dreams come true, or just like, hey, I've done it all. What do I need to do anymore? So I'm interested to see where he goes, like you just said, in his career and movies. And hey, definitely check it out. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and I love that he is at like the height of his success, and he owns his own studio. He can do whatever he wants in Hollywood.
So humble, Rob.
You know
So
what?
humble. So
Yes,
humble.
he was so humble through the little hiccups in the interview, and he said, "I want to go back and revisit this project that I created years ago that's near and dear to me," and he did it. Like, I love that. Like, he didn't leave it sitting on the shelf collecting dust. He brought it to life, and like, he gave people jobs, some really good jobs, because it's a beautiful film, and I'm super excited to see what comes next.
All right. Well, that's another show of Rewind with Ro. I want to thank Rob again for tuning in. Again, we'll have Rob and Coco throughout the season doing some things. Rob, before we go, do you have anything coming up? Anything big, or just chilling?
Hope, fingers crossed. Some stuff is on the table right now. So
no one says anything in this, by the way. Anytime I ask these guys, they never say anything.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe I'll be a guest. Maybe I'll be a guest, because we'll be talking about a project I'm on. So
okay.
Some things on the table. I'm just
I see you.
Keeping the fingers crossed and the prayers up.
Well, good luck to you, my man. I always appreciate you on the show. I love the dynamic here, and looking forward to seeing you next week.
Absolutely.
All right, brother. Peace.
Peace.